This week for the Rural Challenge, I wanted to think about sharing and what it means to share, and I talk about this quite a lot because I actually think it is one of the big issues in rural ministry, is how we ask people to share things. In Thought for the Week, we're going to think about what it means to be sharing, what the model of shared love is within the Trinity and our understanding of God. I was reminded of the toddler rules of possession. So these would apply to someone who's normally, I guess, 2, and we can think about it. If you've ever had long-term interaction with a 2-year-old, I think you might associate with these. And it's kind of, there are things like, if it's mine, it's mine. If I can hold it, it's mine. If I saw it first, it's mine. If I once had something like it, it's also mine. If it's broken, it's yours. And I guess I was thinking about those in relationship to what it means about sharing, and that these rural church groups or benefices are often pushed together to share things without it being something which is grown out of love. These are arranged marriages for churches who are then asked to work together, and they're asked to share things. They're asked to share their vicars, their clergy, they're asked to share all sorts of things. They're asked to share maybe their administrator. Some rural benefices even have a youth worker, but they're being asked to share all these things, and sometimes it can make them quite grumpy that they don't want to share, that what they have is theirs. And because of the forced nature of these relationships, we need to really ask how to develop the love in those relationships between church communities who might have been lumped together or feel that they've been lumped together, and yet have an individual identity which might go back a millennium. So what does it mean for them? How can we encourage these places, rural benefices, to work together in the way that the Trinity works together, full of God's love and bound in together? How is that understanding of sharing and of sharing love together as the Trinity is shared and shared in love together? How can we enhance that and encourage that within these rural benefices who might still feel subject to an arranged marriage? Thought for the week this week is for Trinity Sunday, and the passage that we have this year for Trinity Sunday, the Gospel passage, is John chapter 16 verses 12 to 15. And as I was preparing for this week, I was struck by how 2 of the verses in that passage are very, very similar. So it's 14 and 15. I'm going to read them to you. And this is Jesus talking about the Father. He will glorify me, because he will take what is mine and declare it to you. And all that the Father has is mine. For this reason I said that he will take what is mine and declare it to you. So quite often on Trinity Sunday, I spend some time talking about the models of the Trinity. But when I was reading that this week, I was really struck by the model that Augustine of Hippo used, or is credited to him, of the lover, the loved, or the beloved, and the love that passes between them, that is shared between them. So God is the person who loves, God the Father. Jesus is considered the beloved, the person who is loved, the one who is loved, and the Holy Spirit is kind of modelled as the love which passes between them. And I've been thinking about that a lot this week, but I've also been thinking about this idea of shared ownership of things and what that is like, because Jesus says quite a few times what the Father has is mine and what is mine is my Father's. And it's kind of this understanding of what shared ownership is like. And I wonder what that might look like in our understanding of God, what it is, who is it in your friends or family that you feel that you have much more shared ownership of things, that you know if you ask to borrow something that they will always say yes, you can borrow that, or might even give something to you that was theirs. How do we live in this sort of relationship where everything belongs to each other, and how does that work for the church? And then I ended up doing something which I haven't really ever done before on Trinity Sunday. I've really been thinking about this idea of what possessions are. Everything that Jesus has is God's, and everything that God has is Jesus. How does that relate when we think about what it is as humans we possess? There's a saying which I sometimes use at weddings by Husay, which says, tell me whom you love and I will tell you who you are. Tell me whom you love and I will tell you who you are. Recently in the UK we've had a television programme called Sort Your Life Out, and I really love it. And what they do is basically people who are struggling with the amount of the possessions that they have in their home, the TV team come, they take everything out of the house and lay it out in a warehouse, everything that they own. And I'm just like, actually, I wonder how that applies to the tell me whom you love and I will tell you who you are. Tell me what you own and I will tell you who you are. If all your possessions were spread out on that warehouse floor, what would we think about you and about how you live your life, and what that means for you about sharing and your faith and all those sorts of things? How are they important for you? So yeah, this idea of actually this kind of radical sharing within the Trinity and the nature of God has been something I've really been pondering on this week, thinking about the Trinity and how that ties in with that image of the Trinity of the being the person who loves, being the person who is loved, and the love that's shared between. Because this is quite a radical thing. If everything is shared in that context, if everything is shared in that context of being God, what does that mean for us as individuals, as family, and as the church? What does it mean for us to be part of this kind of idea of radical sharing, which appears to be the nature of God in the Trinity? Jesus says, Jesus prays for us, I pray that you will be one with the Father as I am one with the Father. That's his prayer for us. So what does it mean for us that actually everything is shared? Everything that the Father has is Jesus', everything that Jesus has is the Father. And if we're one with God, what does that mean for us in our lives as individuals, as families and communities, and as churches? The Dibley moment of the week this week is about thinking about what vicars leave behind when they move from one post to another post. So I've been thinking about things that vicars usefully leave behind. They might leave children's resources behind. They might leave like administration notes and folders behind. I know one vicar who left a computer behind so the parish administrator could carry on using it. I even know a vicar who left a car behind so the person who was going to provide cover but didn't have a car would be able to get around the churches. It was a car they'd inherited. So yeah, but there are some things that vicars don't leave behind, and the thing that I didn't leave behind from the post which I moved on from after COVID was a tray. It was a small wooden tray which my eldest child had made. It's really beautiful, it's quite small, it's really useful, and it has little wooden cross-shaped handles. And I'm like, when I left that place, I'm like, yeah, all this other stuff you can have, but the tray, no, that's mine. So that's it for the Dibley Diaries for this week. I pray that you and your village, however large or small, have a really blessed week where you can all share in God's Trinitarian love.